Hi guys, it's me again, Charles Norman, with you from the AthleticScholarshipAcademy.com website, the Athletic Scholarship Academy Pro software solution, and also from ProfessorQSS.com. And so today, I've been going around the last few weeks selling and marketing the Athletic Scholarship Academy Pro software to schools and coaches from club teams and travel teams, and to training organizations that train youth in sports. And I've had a chance to talk to some of the parents and some of the athletes and some of their frustrations as far as it goes with youth sports. Now, most of these kids want to play at the collegiate level, and so that's what our software helps them do. But a lot of the kids just want to be able to play on the team, and it seems universally one of the biggest problems, and even in the emails that I get from some of the players, that they feel like they're not getting a fair shake when it comes to playing high school sports. So the question always invariably becomes, what do I do about it? The coach is not playing me. I think I'm better than the kid that's in front of me. Things aren't going well. They're not playing the style that I need to play. The parents are frustrated, the kids are frustrated, and the coaches are frustrated. So what I want to do in this video, I'm going to do a two-part video series here. We're going to talk about some of the reasons you may not be able to play for your high school, or you're not playing as much as you want to be playing. And we're going to talk in part two on the things you can do about it. But in part one, in this video, I want to go over some of the reasons you may not be playing and what the coaches themselves are thinking. And this could even be at the collegiate level. And so you really have three choices here, right? So either you go to the high school and you've made the team. Let's assume you've made the team and you're not getting enough playing time. You either, if you think it's unfair, you can go to the principal or the athletic director of the school, and you can complain, and you can try to get the coach in trouble, and maybe the coach will change their mind. I don't see that happening very often. I have seen it where the coach gets fired if enough kids go and they're losing, and it's just a bad situation, because the front office, to be perfectly honest with you, the administration at most high schools, they just want things to go smoothly. They really don't want to get so involved in the athletic portion of the school. They got other problems. They got academic problems. They got kids that aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing. They got teachers that are giving problems. Athletics is such a side thing that they don't want to get too involved in that. So that's usually not going to work. In fact, it'll probably backfire on you. And that's what a lot of parents want to do. The next thing you can do is you can transfer schools. So you can go to another school where most likely you'll get an opportunity to play for whatever reason, or at least you believe you will, or you believe you'll get a better break, a fairer break, right? But then you're leaving your friends at your current high school. If you've already been at that school, let's say you've been there a year or two, you've set down some roots. The other school that you're probably going to go to is probably a rival school for your school. Is that really what you want to do? Especially as a parent that may move their kid for athletic reasons, is that really what you want to do? You know, take your kid away from their friends, have them compete against their friends. You know, if it's that important to you, sometimes it's the best thing to do for you, but I would recommend against it. Most of the times when it happens, no one turns out happy, except for the coach at the other school if they're getting a pretty good player. And then our third option is, and this is the one that I got from my granddad. He said, you got a problem, you need to figure out what you want, and then make a plan for how to get there. And then that's where we want to be. So in order to, let's go with number three, right? Where we could, I guess we could have a pity party and just stay there and mark our time until we get a chance to play and hope that happens. Or we can just sit on the bench and endure it. Or we can, you know, just kind of have a pity party for ourselves. But that's not what we want to do. Now, if you want to play at the collegiate level, you're going to have some sort of high school career, depending on the sport you're in. And you need to be one of the better players, not only on your team, but in your league, to show a college coach that you're one of the premier players in the country. Because at the lowest level of collegiate play, you got to be pretty good. I mean, it's usually the stars of the high school team. Now, there's some sports where playing club or travel ball is more important than your high school. And there's a lot of sports that the high school doesn't even carry, so that, you know, winning tournaments and doing things outside of the high school is more important than what you do at the school. But all things being equal, you should be one of the best players in your league at the very least, on your team for sure. And if that's not happening for you, and those are your dreams and aspirations to play at the collegiate level, then we got to do something. So let's jump into it real quick. So what is it that, let's talk first about your coaches at the high school level and even at the collegiate level. It's very interesting the things that they tell you will get you more playing time or that will allow you to be a starter. But really, to be perfectly honest with you, there's four things that they look at that they have absolutely no control over, and probably neither do you. So let's talk about the first two are your height and your size. Now I know height should go into size, but it makes a huge difference. And it's your height and size in the sport you're playing, right? So, and this throws people off. And the reason there's usually a big problem with this is because in the youth level, from when you started playing at 5 years old all the way through junior high school, too many kids are playing at the wrong position for their sport. It's because the coaches at the very low level are usually parents. They have their own kid, and they're going to let their kid, play the best position if their kid's really good. And if not, they're going to let the best athlete or the kid that has the best skill set at that level play that position. And this is really big. Let's take basketball, for instance. So usually when you're playing youth league, the smallest kid that can handle the ball becomes the point guard. And yet when they get to high school, their projected growth pattern didn't match, and now they're 5'9", 5'10", 5'11", and then along comes this 6'2", 6'3" kid that has just as much skill set, because over time the other kids whose parents paid attention or knew about sports made sure that even though their kid was taller when they were younger, they made sure that kid developed the skills because they projected out what height and size that kid was going to be able to play at the collegiate level. They were already looking so far ahead, and most parents don't know that. And then most parents go along to get along when it comes to youth sports. And I'll talk about a lot of that stuff in other videos, but that usually is what happens. The kid gets to high school, and now let's say the kid's 6'1", 6'2", and they've been playing small forward or power forward their whole career all the way through youth. You're too small. You need to be 6'5", 6'6", 6'7". When you hit high school, if you're thinking about going to college, you really need to be 6'7", 6'8", 6'9" to play that same position. I hope that makes sense to you guys. So I use basketball for an example, but this is for every single sport. Whatever position you're going to play, if someone else on that team has more height or has the correct height and the correct size, they're going to play in front of you 9 times out of 10. Now the coach won't say that, but that's what's going to happen. The coach will talk about, your energy in practice and you're paying attention to the plays and blah, blah, blah. That's not what's going on. These are things that the coach can't control. And so and the thing could happen where you have the size. Let's say you're playing basketball and you're a forward and you're 6'6", and you're a pretty good husky kid and you got the skill set and you're playing pretty good. You're a great rebounder, you box out, you do everything right. And then there's another kid that comes along that's 6'10", that's pretty thin, but has long and rangy arms and not quite as skilled as you are, has some learning to do, and the coach is probably going to play them maybe equal time with you. Now they may put you in as crunch early on, but as that kid starts to develop, that kid's going to play in front of you, because those few inches solve a major problem for coaches, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Now the second piece of the puzzle is speed and quickness. Now there's a lot of fast players and there's a lot of quick players, but if you find a kid that has that combo of speed and quickness, that is rare. That's almost the holy grail if you tie it to size and height. If you get all of those put together, that kid's going to play. Okay, even if they do some boneheaded stuff every now and then. And the reason they're going to play is because they can make up for mistakes. They can recover from things going wrong much better than someone else that maybe is a good player, but doesn't have all of those other items. So height and size, speed and quickness, any of those combination of things are going to put you behind the 8 ball if the person in front of you has that. So these are things that the coach can't even do anything about. They have no control over those things at all. Okay, so now let's look at the things that coaches do have control over. Now, everybody knows, or at least you should know, and usually the kids on the court don't seem to understand this, but the reason most teams lose is mistakes and turnovers. Okay? Those are the things that just kill wins and rack up the losses. Most games stay within a manageable win for most of the game, all the way up until the fourth quarter or whatever, the last innings or whatever sport you're playing, right up until that last maybe 7-8 minutes of the game, usually even the 2 or 3 minutes at the end of the game is winnable. And so what happens is you have kids that for some reason don't concentrate on what's going on and don't understand and can't handle that pressure. And there's no way for a coach to put somebody out there when if they don't believe that they're going to come through in the clutch. And it doesn't mean you have to be the star of the team, but you just have to be, I guess the best way to put it is consistency. And for coaches, trusting the kids that are on the floor just makes their life so much easier, so that even if that kid makes a mistake every now and then, you know you put the best, you want to know you put the best people out there to give your team the best opportunity to win. That's what coaches are looking to do 9 times out of 10. So if you're not that kid, then you're not going to be playing, and you need to make yourself that kid. You need to be the person who's consistent. Now let's talk about some of the things that coaches will say, but it doesn't turn out to be the truth. That hard-working kid. What about your talent level? You know, sometimes you are more talented than the people that are playing in front of you or getting more playing time than you, but you're not getting that time, and you're not getting that time because sometimes you mess up the flow of the game. You know, especially the more talented a player is, the more they have a tendency to hold on to the ball, or they have a tendency to think they can get somewhere and they can't get there, or they have a tendency to dance around and look for the big play every time. And so you break up the flow for the rest of the team. And it's not just that these coaches spend all this time coming up with a game plan and plays and methodology for how they want the team to play, and you're screwing that up. No, on top of that, the other players on the team, the moment you're in the game, they start letting down. They don't feel confident. They don't feel that things are going to work smoothly, and they stop moving. Why would I move to get open if I know the ball's not going to arrive at the right time? Why would I set a screen when I know you're going to go opposite of it? Why am I going to run the play as hard as possible and as precise as possible when I know you're going to screw up on the other side? Why would I play tough defense when I know on my back end I got no coverage? So you are messing up the flow. And talented players have a tendency to do that because they can overcome mistakes easier, and they see things that other people don't see. So you really need to learn the flow. One of the other big mistakes I see are the players that are consistent and they do everything right, and they are at practice early, they know all the plays, they run everything perfectly, they have the size, the height, the speed, the quickness, but they are so intent on pleasing the coach that the one thing that the coach will never say to you, that is always true with every coach, that if there is an opening, even if the play is away from that, whatever the situation is, there's an opening, you have to take it. You have to be aggressive enough to take that opening, right? And you see it all the time. A kid has the ball and they're so into, and I'm just doing basketball again because that's a sport that I know the most, but they're so into what they're supposed to do, the opening is right there. You have to take it. You can't hesitate. You have to take that opening. And what usually happens with those kids is they get a lot of playing time early, and then slowly it tapers off on them. And the next thing you know, you're sitting on the bench, and the coach kind of forgets about you. They know you're there, you're consistent, and if things go wrong, somebody gets hurt, they get in too many fouls, you're in. But you're not going to get to start anymore, and you're not going to play a lot if everything else goes well. So you have to be confident enough when you're on the court to understand, yeah, it's not your role to take that three-point shot. It's not your role to drive to the basket. Yeah, you're the guy that's doing whatever you're supposed to do, but every now and then there's a moment on the field and everyone sees it. You got to take it. You got to go for it. And even if you screw up and you get sat on the bench, knowing that you're willing to go for it is what sports is all about anyway. You got to impact the game, okay? So those are some of the reasons that have absolutely nothing to do with the coach not liking you or the fact that the way that they're not playing. You're a great runner, and they pass the ball all the time, and you don't fit into their scheme. Well, every now and then they're going to run the ball, and if you're the best runner on the field, then you're going to play, because the times they do run, it's going to happen. Now, the other thing that could happen to you is the style of play doesn't fit your height, size, weight, whatever, your speed, quickness, or the way you play the game. Okay, so you have somebody, let's go with football. You have a team that likes to run the option. And so you're the 6'5" quarterback versus this 5'9" quarterback that's super quick or whatever. Well, in that scheme of thing, maybe the shorter player fits the scheme of that option. The same thing could happen if you went to a school where that coach is all about passing. And so now the taller quarterback, who may be less athletic but can see over everything and the trajectory of his passes is a little bit different, is going to make the difference. And this happens in every sport. So, like, we're going to talk in the next part 2 of this about the things you can do to get yourself more playing time. But I really want to go over very, very, very seldom is it that the coach is just a jerk. And the longer the coach has been at the school, the more they know. Here's what a coach knows. He knows in 4 years, you're gone. And another set of kids are coming right behind you. And there were kids in front of you. And the same set of problems are going to happen every single year. Every single year they're going to have parents that think they're idiots. Every year they're going to have kids that are going to goof around. Every year there's going to be kids that think they should play in front of the other kids. So they've been there, done that. And if it's a new coach, they're trying to implement what they want. They know that the kids that may have been there for a while are tied to the style that was before them. And so now they're coming in, and the reason they probably got the job, unless they were the assistant coach for the previous coach, is because they're going to change things up. And so now they want different types of athletes. They want kids that are loyal to them. So we'll talk about all that in part 2, but I really wanted to get in you guys' mind, forget about the pity party. There's nothing you can do about it. You've got a short window of time. If you want to play, especially if you want to play at the collegiate level, we need to get you on the court or the field, and we need to get you playing. And if you just want to make the team, if you just want to get more playing time, you can do it. It's there. But I really wanted in this first video to go over some of the reasons that you may not be playing that have absolutely nothing to do with the coach just being a jerk, or if the kid in front of you is not as talented as you, maybe you should be playing over them. Yeah, it may be true, but there's a reason you're not, and that's the thing we got to solve. All right, guys? So watch part 2. If it's not up right away, it'll be up within a week or so. It's really hot out here right now, so I may not be able to do 2 videos, and then I want to get some other videos up also. So I will do part 2. I will tell you exactly what you want to try to do to get more playing time. Give me a week to do it. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Always, always, best of luck to you. Stay in the game. We're going to help you get where you need to get to. All right. Bye.